Welcome to the Guild Tremor video strategy guides. I'm Danton, and today I'll be covering 10-man easy mode Assembly of Iron. The Assembly of Iron is a variable difficulty fight based on which bosses you take down first, middle, and last. It is generally considered easy mode when you kill Steelbreaker first, Runemaster Molgheim second, and Stormcaller Brundir last. Killing any one boss will give the other two full health, a plus 25% damage bonus that cannot be dispelled, and individual abilities. The same applies to when two bosses are killed, giving the final boss full health, a total of plus 50% damage, and even more unique abilities. For this specific fight, I will only be covering the bosses and their abilities as we come across them in that order. The other bosses and their abilities will be covered when our guild attempts and records both normal and hard modes. The three bosses will need to be tanked away from each other, but close enough so the healers can focus on whoever needs heals without having to move too much. For easy mode, our guild takes Steelbreaker down first. He has 3 million hit points and hits for roughly 10,000 physical damage. Steelbreaker has two main abilities that you'll need to be aware of. The first is Fusion Punch, which we have affectionately nicknamed Falcon Punch. This is an ability that inflicts around 20,000 nature damage to his target and deals an additional 15,000 nature damage every 1 second for 4 seconds. This will hit the tank only and needs 3 seconds to cast. The debuff is a magic effect and must be dispelled as quickly as possible. Paladin tanks shine here with their ability to dispel the debuff as soon as it is put up. The second ability Steelbreaker does is High Voltage. This is an aura that he has up at all times that will inflict 1,500 nature damage to the whole raid every 3 seconds. This is not dispellable and must be healed through. Once Steelbreaker is taken down, the other two bosses will regain their health, gain the plus 25% damage bonus, and one new ability each. The tank should then move to the next boss, Runemaster Molgheim in this case. Molgheim has 3 million hit points and hits between 8,000 to 10,000 damage on the tank. He has his two normal abilities he uses, as well as a new one now. His first base ability used is called Rune of Power. This is a ground-targeted area of effect spell that will buff anyone standing on this rune to do 50% more damage, including any of the bosses. This is summoned under one of the 3 assembly members, so usually the tank will need to readjust their positioning. Be especially aware if Steelbreaker gains this buff, as he can easily one-shot a tank with this and his Fusion Punch. Molgheim's second ability is called Shield of Runes. The shield absorbs up to 20,000 damage, and if the shield absorbs the total amount, this gives Molgheim a 50% damage increase for 15 seconds. Shamans, priests, and mages should be on the lookout for this, as it can be purged, dispelled, or spell stolen. Molgheim's third ability, which he is granted when the first boss dies, is called Rune of Death. This is a ground-targeted area of effect spell that will do 2,750 shadow damage per half second to anyone standing within this. It has a 26-yard radius and is usually centered around a random raid member. Get out of it ASAP. Once Mulgheim has died, the last boss, Stormcaller Brundir in this case, will regain his hit points, gain an additional 25% damage bonus, and gain 2 new abilities on top of his 2 base and 1 from the boss dying before. Just like the other bosses, Brundir has 3 million hit points and hits for roughly 8 to 10,000 damage. His 2 base abilities are Chain Lightning and Overload. Chain Lightning deals around 4,500 nature damage and can chain onto an additional target within 10 yards up to a total of 5 targets. We usually try and spread out to avoid chaining this ability. Fortunately, any player that has an interrupt ability can do so for this boss. He is also affected by spells that increase spell casting time, as well as stun effects, up until the second boss is killed. Overload is similar in a sense to Loken or Murmur's ability. This is a 6-second channeled spell that deals 20,000 nature damage to all targets within 20 yards of him. While channeling this spell, Brundir gains the Storm Shield effect, which deals 250 nature damage to melee attackers and grants him immunity to stun effects. Brundir's third ability, which he gains when one boss has died, is called Lightning Whirl. This is a channeled spell and deals around 4,000 nature damage per bolt. He fires multiple bolts per second and needs to be interrupted as quickly as possible. Once the other 2 bosses have died, Brundir gains the abilities Storm Shield and Lightning Tendrils. Storm Shield grants Brundir immunity to stun effects and will deal 250 nature damage to any raid member attacking him. For Lightning Tendrils, Brundir lifts off the ground into the air and gains an AoE ability that deals around 3,000 nature damage per second to all targets within an 18-yard radius. He randomly switches targets and needs to be kited away from the raid to minimize damage. Raid members should spend this portion of the fight keeping as far away from Brundir as possible. Let it also be noted that he cannot be taunted while he is channeling this ability. He will reset his threat table when he lands. Thanks for watching our video. I encourage you to take a look at our other 10-man videos, and if you have any questions, feel free to visit our guild website at www.feelthetremor.com.